Commander Han's steady hands gripped the rail as she watched the alien ship appear. It was huge, bigger than anything humans had ever built. The ship seemed to tear open space itself, emerging like a monster from the depths. Lights pulsed along its strange metal hull. "Scan complete, Commander," said Officer Choi, his voice tight with worry. "The vessel is approximately 12 kilometers in length. Our weapons," he trailed off, "would do nothing," Han finished for him. She had known this day might come. Earth had detected strange signals for years. The diplomatic team had prepared messages of peace, of friendship. But deep down, many feared first contact would not be friendly. The main screen flickered to life without warning. The creature that appeared made several staff members gasp. It resembled a lizard, but with intelligence burning in its slitted yellow eyes. Scales shifted colors as it moved, creating beautiful but somehow threatening patterns. "People of Earth," it spoke in perfect English, its mouth moving strangely around the words. "The Galactic Council has determined your species worthy of recognition. Your technological advancement has been noted. Standard protocol requires all emergent species to provide annual tribute, 10% of your planetary resources, in exchange for non-intervention. You have 30 solar cycles to comply." The message repeated in all major languages before cutting off. The station fell silent. "They're not asking," Han said quietly. "They're demanding." Within hours, the United Earth government called an emergency meeting. Leaders from all nations gathered in the underground complex beneath Geneva. President Yoon stood at the center, her face grim. "We face an unprecedented situation," she began. "The alien vessel has positioned itself between Earth and our moon. Their technology appears far beyond our own." Minister Song pounded his fist on the table. "We must comply. We've seen what their ship can do. They could wipe us out. And what happens next year when they demand more?" General Park countered. "Or when they decide 10% isn't enough. We would be surrendering our future." Arguments erupted across the chamber. Some nations had already begun gathering resources for the tribute. Others prepared for war, though their weapons would likely be useless. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Dr. Kim was reviewing data that might change everything. Behind heavy blast doors and layers of security, she entered a laboratory where few humans had access. Inside sat the remains of what most of humanity never knew existed, an alien scout ship that had crashed in the ocean 50 years ago. Its pilot had died, but the technology survived. For decades, Earth's brightest minds had studied it in absolute secrecy. General Park joined her, looking at the glowing blue power core they had finally managed to replicate. "Can our new systems stand against them?" he asked. Dr. Kim pulled up holographic displays showing test results. "The shield technology works. We've managed to create 20 functioning prototypes. The weapons systems are operational too, though we don't fully understand how they work." She displayed footage of a test, a mountain literally disappearing, not destroyed but somehow removed from reality itself. "Most importantly," she continued, "we've kept everything hidden. Our reverse-engineered tech doesn't register on their scanners. They have no idea what we've developed." General Park studied the weapon schematics. "They think we're just another primitive species. They've encountered this before," Dr. Kim said, showing intercepted communications they decoded. "The Council finds developing worlds, demands tribute, and essentially enslaves them while pretending to offer protection. They've done it at least 12 times before." "But they've never met humans," Park said. Dr. Kim's expression hardened. "Exactly. Throughout history, when backed into a corner, humans don't just fight back. We transform. We went from the first airplane to landing on the moon in just 66 years. From basic computing to artificial intelligence in less time. And with the alien technology we've been studying." She gestured to their hidden fleet of advanced craft and weapons. "We could surprise them," Park said thoughtfully. "More than surprise them," Kim replied. We could show them why demanding tribute from Earth was the worst mistake they've made in 10,000 years. She activated a communication link to President Yoon's secure channel. Madam President, before you decide our response, there's something you need to see. As Kim prepared her presentation, she knew the next few days would determine humanity's future among the stars. The Galactic Council thought they were dealing with a simple, frightened species that would hand over whatever was demanded. They were about to learn how terrifying humans could be when threatened. General Park watched the determination in her eyes and nodded. Perhaps, he said quietly, it's time they learned. The underground meeting room was packed with world leaders. Tension filled the air like a heavy blanket. On the massive round table, a hologram showed the alien ship hanging in space above Earth. The ship looked like a giant metal predator waiting to strike. 30 days, whispered someone. Just 30 days to decide the fate of our entire planet. President Lee called the meeting to order, her normally calm voice strained. We need to make a decision that will affect every human being alive today and all future generations. The African Union representative, a tall man with deep lines on his face, stood up. We cannot give them what they want. 10% of Earth's resources. That means water, minerals, plant life, animals. Taking that much would destroy delicate ecosystems. Millions would starve. Entire species would vanish. We cannot pay this price. Nods of agreement came from some around the table, but not all. And what is the alternative? The European delegate's voice shook slightly. Look at that ship. Our best estimates show its weapons could turn our largest cities to dust in minutes. If we refuse, they might take everything and leave us nothing. Arguments broke out across the room. Some pounded tables. Others shouted. A few sat in silent despair. Please, President Lee raised her hands. This gets us nowhere. That's when Dr. Kim walked to the center of the room. She was small in stature, but something in her confident stride made everyone fall silent. You haven't been told everything, she said simply. Before you decide humanity's future, there's something you need to see. She activated a small device. The room darkened, and new images appeared above the table. Strange machines, weapons unlike anything most had seen before, ships that looked almost alien. 50 years ago, something crashed in the Pacific Ocean. We called it the Proxima Incident. It wasn't a meteor, as the public was told. It was a scout ship from beyond our solar system. Gasps filled the room. Some delegates looked shocked. Others nodded, having been part of the secret. For 5 decades, the best scientists from around the world have studied this technology. We've learned. We've adapted. We've built. Dr. Kim's eyes gleamed with fierce pride. And most importantly, we've hidden our progress from watching eyes. She showed test footage of a mountain range somewhere remote. A small device activated, and an invisible bubble seemed to form. When a missile struck the bubble, it simply disappeared. Quantum displacement shields, Dr. Kim explained. They don't just block attacks. They shift them into another dimension entirely. More footage showed a small probe being hit by a beam of energy. Instead of exploding, the probe seemed to lose substance, becoming transparent before vanishing completely. Gravimetric weapons that disrupt the bonds holding matter together. No heat, no explosion, just removal. The room was completely silent now. But the council ship is enormous, someone finally said. It must have incredible defensive systems. Dr. Kim nodded. Yes, and we have been watching them scan Earth regularly for decades. They're looking for specific energy signatures. We've designed our systems to appear invisible to their detection methods. She showed more images, hidden bases on the far side of the moon, underwater facilities housing fleets of advanced craft, orbital platforms disguised as communication satellites. They believe we're still using conventional rocket fuels and basic computers. They have no idea what we're actually capable of. President Lee studied the images carefully. You're suggesting we fight the entire Galactic Council, an organization that seems to control multiple star systems. Dr. Kim's face was serious but unafraid. I'm suggesting we show them why demanding tribute from Earth was their most significant miscalculation in 10,000 years. She pulled up intercepted communications they had managed to decode from Council ships. They'd done this before to many developing worlds. They threaten, they take resources, and they keep those civilizations dependent and afraid. It's not protection. It's extortion on a galactic scale. Dr. Kim walked around the table, making eye contact with each leader. Throughout human history, when have we been at our most innovative, our most determined? When facing extinction, when backed into corners. The Council has no idea what they've done by threatening us. She showed a final simulation. Earth's hidden fleet emerging from concealment, deploying technologies the aliens wouldn't expect. We don't need to destroy them. We just need to show them we're not like the others they've bullied into submission. The room erupted in discussion. Some leaders immediately agreed with Dr. Kim's plan. Others remained fearful. General Park stood up next to Dr. Kim. I've overseen the military applications of this technology. We can do this, but we need unity. Every nation working together in complete secrecy for the next 29 days. President Lee watched the debate unfold. Finally, she raised her hand for silence. We've always been divided by borders, by politics, by old hatreds, she said quietly. But today we face a threat to all of humanity. Perhaps this is the moment when we finally understand we are one species, one world, facing the stars together. She looked at Dr. Kim. Prepare your teams. If we're going to surprise the galaxy, we'll need every advantage. As the meeting continued deep into the night, the hologram of the alien ship still loomed over them. No longer just a threat, but a challenge humanity was determined to meet. The next 3 weeks changed Earth forever. On the surface, things looked normal. People went to work. Children attended school. News reports showed governments gathering resources to meet the alien demand. But this was just a show. Deep beneath the oceans, in secret mountain bases, and on the far side of the moon, humanity prepared for the greatest gamble in its history. At the North Pole base, Captain Sung supervised as engineers activated long-dormant systems. The base had been built 20 years ago, disguised as a research station. Now its true purpose was revealed. Massive doors slid open in the ice, revealing launch bays that had never been used before. Power systems at full capacity, reported a young technician, his hands moving quickly over the controls. The shields are operational. Sung nodded, watching as the status lights turned green one by one. Begin loading the gravitic torpedoes. I want all submarines ready to deploy within 48 hours. Similar scenes played out across the planet. In the Sahara, sand shifted as hidden entrances to underground hangars opened for the first time. In the Amazon, a section of rainforest, actually a sophisticated hologram, flickered briefly as ships rose into the night sky. All of this activity was carefully masked from the Council ship's scanning technology. Every energy signature was disguised, every movement calculated to avoid detection. In orbit, 12 ordinary-looking satellites began subtle changes. Solar panels folded away, revealing weapon ports. Internal systems reconfigured, transforming what had appeared to be simple communication relays into defensive platforms capable of creating energy shields around Earth's major cities. The public remained unaware. They were told that governments were preparing tribute shipments. In reality, those shipments contained only token amounts, enough to make the deception believable. On the moon's far side, hidden from both Earth and the Council ship, Commander Han stood in the control center of humanity's greatest secret. Before her stretched the main hangar of the lunar base, where 40 sleek vessels waited. These ships, the Artemis fleet, represented Earth's true technological level. Final systems check complete, reported Officer Jin, her second in command. All ships report ready status. Han walked along the observation deck, looking down at the vessels. They bore little resemblance to the bulky, primitive spacecraft Earth had publicly deployed over the past decades. These ships were elegant, incorporating the best of reverse-engineered alien technology and human innovation. "The Council truly has no idea these exist?" asked a new lieutenant, looking nervous. "No," Han replied confidently. "We've been careful. Every test flight occurred behind the moon or in deep space with full cloaking. The Council believes our most advanced vessels are the International Space Coalition cruisers." She pointed to a holographic display showing Earth's publicly acknowledged space fleet, boxy, inefficient ships with conventional engines and minimal weapons. "They're expecting those. Outdated ion drives, basic point defense systems, old technology that would be no match for their ships." Her mouth curved into a smile that held no humor. "They have no idea about us." The lieutenant studied the Artemis fleet with new appreciation. "And these can match Council technology. In some ways, yes. In others, we've developed solutions they've never seen before." Commander Han activated another display showing the unique features of their ships. "We didn't just copy their technology. We improved it." Over the next week, crews conducted final drills. Every possible scenario was practiced. Every system was checked and rechecked. Earth would have only one chance to surprise the Council. Meanwhile, Earth's official diplomatic channels sent carefully crafted messages to the Council ship. They expressed concern about the tight deadline. They requested more time. They suggested partial compliance while negotiations continued. The Council's responses were cold and dismissive. The deadline would not change. Full compliance was expected. Any resistance would be met with appropriate measures. These exchanges were exactly what Han expected. They needed the Council to remain confident, arrogant, unprepared for what was coming. On the 28th day, President Lee addressed the world. Her speech was deliberately designed to sound resigned, even fearful. "We face a difficult choice," she told the watching billions. "We must comply with the Council's demands while seeking peaceful dialogue. Resistance would only bring destruction." The speech was broadcast knowing the Council would intercept it. Behind closed doors, President Lee approved the final battle plans. On the 29th day, Earth sent its official response, a formal diplomatic message requesting a short extension and suggesting they would begin with partial compliance. The message was properly deferential, giving no hint of the truth. That same day, the hidden submarine fleet took positions in oceans around the world. Orbital platforms completed their transformations but remained in passive mode. And on the far side of the moon, Commander Han addressed the crews of the Artemis fleet. "Tomorrow, the Council expects to begin collecting tribute from what they think is just another frightened, primitive world," she said, her voice carrying to all 40 ships. "Instead, they will learn why humanity has survived every threat we've ever faced." She looked at the determined faces of her pilots and crew. "We do not seek to destroy the Council. We seek to earn our place among the stars, not as servants, but as equals. Remember your training. Remember what we fight for. And remember that after tomorrow, the galaxy will never look at Earth the same way again." As the Earth rotated beneath them, humanity's hidden forces moved into their final positions, waiting for the moment that would change everything. Morning dawned over Earth as the Council fleet arrived. They came in perfect formation. 5 huge harvester ships surrounded by 12 smaller but heavily armed vessels. The ships were massive against the blue of Earth's sky, casting shadows over the Atlantic Ocean below. People worldwide watched on screens, many believing these would be the ships that would begin taking Earth's resources. Some prayed. Others held their families close. Few knew what was truly about to happen. The largest Council ship opened communications. The same reptilian being from before appeared on screens globally. "Your time has ended," it announced coldly. "We detect your primitive defense systems powering up. This would be unwise. Deactivate immediately and prepare for resource collection." In Geneva, President Lee sat at her desk, looking calm despite the threat. She wore a simple blue suit, her hair pulled back neatly. Nothing in her appearance suggested this was anything but a normal day. "I wish to speak directly to your commander," she said. After a brief pause, a different alien appeared. This one had darker scales and wore what seemed to be a military uniform decorated with strange symbols. "I am Fleet Commander Vex. Speak quickly, human. Our harvesters are preparing to land." President Lee's expression remained steady. "We wish to demonstrate something first, Earth's actual response to your demands." Without waiting for a reply, she cut the transmission. For 30 seconds, nothing happened. The Council ships remained in position. On Earth, millions held their breath, not knowing what to expect. Then, everything changed at once. From behind the moon came a sight no one in the Council had anticipated. 40 sleek warships emerged in perfect formation. They didn't look anything like the clumsy vessels the Council had observed Earth using. These ships were elegant, advanced, and clearly built for war. At the same time, the oceans below churned as objects burst from beneath the waves. Submarines that had been hiding in the depths launched gravitic torpedoes that streaked toward the Council fleet, leaving strange distortions in the air behind them. In orbit, the satellites that had been disguised as simple communication relays transformed. They unfolded like metal flowers, revealing complex weapon systems. Energy fields began to form around Earth's major cities, shields glowing with blue-green light. On board the lead ship of Earth's hidden fleet, Commander Han stood tall on the bridge. Her crew worked with focused precision around her, each person knowing exactly what to do after countless drills. "Open a channel to the Council flagship," Han ordered. "Make sure it broadcasts to all their vessels." When the connection was established, Han spoke clearly and confidently. "This is Commander Han of Earth Defense Forces. We reject your tribute demands. We counter-propose recognition of Earth as a sovereign power with full Council rights, or demonstration of why threatening humanity is a critical error." On the main screen, the Council commander's reptilian face appeared. His scales darkened to a deep purple color, clearly a sign of rage. "You dare," he hissed, voice shaking with anger. "Your species is barely a millennium old. You will be." Commander Han nodded to her weapons officer. Now, from the lead Earth ship, a single shot fired. It wasn't an explosion or a laser beam like in old human science fiction. It was a gravity lance, a weapon that bent space itself. The beam, almost invisible except for how it distorted the stars behind it, passed through the Council flagship's shields as if they weren't there. It struck with surgical precision, removing the command bridge without damaging the rest of the massive vessel. The transmission cut instantly. The Council flagship drifted, suddenly silent and leaderless. "Target disabled," reported the weapons officer quietly. Han nodded. "Broadcast to the remaining Council vessels." When the channel opened again, Han's voice was calm but firm. "That was a demonstration. We targeted only your command center. No one else needed to be harmed. We could have destroyed your entire ship, but that is not our way." The Earth fleet moved into a surrounding pattern, showing their tactical advantage. The submarine-launched torpedoes held position around the Council's ships, ready to fire but waiting. "Your shields cannot stop our gravity weapons," Han continued. "Your scanners failed to detect our true capabilities. But we do not seek war. We seek recognition as equals." For several tense minutes, there was no response. The disabled flagship drifted silently. The other Council ships remained in position, weapons ready but not firing. Finally, a new transmission came from one of the other Council vessels. A different alien appeared, older, with faded scales and eyes that showed surprise and something like respect. "I am Secondary Commander Krill. Our primary commander is no longer available to continue negotiations." The alien seemed to choose its words carefully. "Your demonstration is unexpected. We were not informed that Earth possessed such technology." "There is much about Earth you don't know," Han replied. "We have hidden our true progress for decades, knowing the Council's history with developing worlds. Around the world, humans watched the exchange with growing hope. This wasn't annihilation. This was something no one had dared imagine. Earth standing as an equal before the stars. In the control room beneath Geneva, Dr. Kim and General Park watched the screens with satisfaction. Their decades of work, the sacrifices and secrets, had led to this moment. They never expected this, Park said quietly. Dr. Kim nodded. No one ever expects humans to be so stubborn, so innovative, so willing to fight when cornered. On the screen, Commander Han continued Earth's first true galactic negotiation, not from a position of weakness, but from one of unexpected strength. 3 days passed since Earth had shocked the Galactic Council. People worldwide still celebrated in the streets. News channels played the footage over and over. Earth's hidden fleet emerging. The precision strike that removed the alien command bridge without destroying the ship, and the stunned silence that followed. Now a new alien ship approached Earth. This one was even larger than the first, its design more elegant. It glowed with soft blue light that somehow seemed less threatening than the previous vessels. They're requesting permission to land, Officer Choi reported to Commander Han. Not demanding, requesting. Han smiled slightly. Quite a change in tone. The massive ship sent a message to Earth's leaders. The Supreme Counselor of the Galactic Alliance requests a formal meeting with Earth's representatives. President Lee consulted with world leaders, then granted permission for the vessel to land. They chose a location in neutral territory, a large field outside the United Nations headquarters in New York. Security was tight, but this was more for ceremony than from fear. The landing was broadcast worldwide. Billions watched as the elegant ship descended slowly, touching down with barely a sound. A doorway appeared in its smooth side, and a ramp extended to the ground. The alien delegation that emerged looked nothing like the military commander from before. These were clearly diplomats, wearing flowing garments decorated with symbols of office. In the center walked a being unlike the others, tall, with shimmering scales that shifted through all colors of the rainbow. This was the Supreme Counselor, the highest authority in known space. President Lee led Earth's delegation to meet them. Commander Han and Dr. Kim walked just behind her, along with representatives from every continent. They had prepared for this moment carefully, wearing formal clothes that represented Earth's diverse cultures. Inside the United Nations Assembly Hall, representatives from every nation on Earth gathered. The room had been modified to accommodate the alien visitors, with special seating and atmosphere controls to ensure their comfort. It was the most important meeting in human history. The Supreme Counselor took the central podium. When he spoke, a small device translated his words into all human languages simultaneously. People of Earth, he began, his voice deep and resonant even through translation. I come before you today in a situation unprecedented in our history. The hall was completely silent as he continued. In 10,000 years, the Galactic Council has encountered 17 species capable of interstellar travel. In our arrogance, we developed protocols to maintain our dominance through intimidation and resource extraction. The counselor's scales rippled with what seemed like discomfort or perhaps shame. Never before has a species responded as yours has. In their seats, Commander Han and Dr. Kim exchanged quick glances. They had gambled everything on humanity's response, and now they were hearing the results. You could have destroyed our fleet entirely, the Supreme Counselor continued. Yet you showed restraint. You disabled our command ship with surgical precision, demonstrating both your capability and your mercy. You developed technologies in secret that even our oldest members have not mastered. The alien leader activated a holographic display showing Earth's gravity lance technology. This weapon alone represents an approach our scientists abandoned centuries ago, believing it impossible to perfect. Yet you found a way. President Lee listened carefully, her face showing nothing but diplomatic calm. When the counselor finished speaking, she stood and approached the podium. What happens now? She asked simply. The Supreme Counselor's scales shifted to a deep blue color. The tribute demand is withdrawn, he stated. It should never have been made. Earth will not pay tribute to the Council. Murmurs of relief and excitement spread through the hall. Instead, the counselor continued, humanity is offered full council membership with all rights and protections. Your world will join the 17 others who help govern our shared galaxy. President Lee nodded. And what of other developing worlds? Will they still be required to pay tribute? The question created visible discomfort among the alien delegation. The Supreme Counselor was silent for a moment before answering. Your question highlights why Earth will be a valuable addition to the Council. We have become comfortable in our power, perhaps even corrupt in how we use it. He straightened to his full height. The tribute system will be reviewed. Your world has shown us that new species can contribute more than just resources. They can bring new ideas, new approaches. You have forced us to reconsider practices we have followed for millennia. Dr. Kim leaned toward Commander Han and whispered, they're actually listening to us. The Supreme Counselor spread his arms in a surprisingly human-like gesture. Perhaps humans might teach the galaxy something it has forgotten. Never underestimate those who have spent their entire history learning to survive against overwhelming odds. The speech ended with a formal invitation for Earth to send representatives to the Galactic Council's central world. Scientists would exchange knowledge. Diplomats would establish new treaties. Humanity would join the stars not as conquered subjects, but as respected equals. As Earth's delegation rose to accept the offer, people in the hall and watching screens around the world felt a profound shift. For all of human history, they had looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone. Now they knew they weren't alone. And more importantly, they had earned their place in the cosmic community. That evening, Commander Han stood on the observation deck of her ship, looking down at Earth glowing blue and green against the blackness of space. Was it worth it? Dr. Kim asked, joining her at the viewport. All those years of secrecy, of preparing for a threat we weren't even sure would come. Han smiled, watching the lights of cities twinkling on the night side of the planet. Look at them down there, she said softly. Tonight they're celebrating. Tomorrow they'll start planning voyages to distant stars. Not as servants or conquered people, but as explorers, as equals. She turned to face her old friend. Yes, it was worth it. We didn't just save Earth from becoming another tributary world. We changed the galaxy itself. As they watched, the Council diplomatic vessel rose from Earth, its lights blending with the stars. A new chapter in human history had begun.